The son of teachers from Le Mans. His dad is a professor. Tsonga owes much of his athleticism. His dad was born in Congo. Didier, excellent at handball. His mother, Evelyn. As we said, a resident of Le Mans.
And Cliff, he's going to get a physical test like he's never had before tonight, because Nadal has the ability, and also being a left-hander, to stretch you in positions that you're not used to. And we keep talking about Nadal, and the one shot that he loves to play is when he moves around his backhand and hits that inside-out forehand to a right-hander's forehand. And he'll be looking to do that. He'll get his opportunities to do that as well. Uncle Tony. Ruff is a different man when Uncle Tony is on the scene. There's been quite a few tournaments that he doesn't turn up to where Ruff is a little more jovial than he is when Uncle Tony's around.
Seems to be all business, doesn't he?
As Bud said, and you guys were saying, Tsonga was an outstanding junior who actually won the US Open Junior title in 2003. Took out Marcus Bagdatis in that championship match. Eric Winogradsky is Tsonga's coach.
Ready.
Nadal has not been afraid to come forward during this year's Australian Open and showing some good hands here. Pretty easy volley, but he closes well. And he plays the right shot. He never panics, Nadal, when he gets a short ball. Forces his opponents to come up with passing shots.
Love 30.
These two guys have played once before in the third round of the US Open last year. A fairly comfortable win for Nadal. And in that particular match, Tsonga had all sorts of trouble to get into the service games of Nadal. Nadal won 80% of his first serve points. And served at a high percentage.
And in that match, Darren, Tsonga sort of went away a little bit mentally. And I think even just in the last few months, you know, the mental improvement from the Frenchman has been significant.
15-30. Well, that's a strong point there if he can keep that kind of point up, especially starting with the serve, obviously, from Tsonga. Got a very compact, solid serve motion.
He sure does. He's got a really compact all-around game, Cliff. I mean, look at that backhand. Short backswing, and he's such a big kid. He's strong, and he's got excellent technique, and you're absolutely right. He's got to keep Nadal on the move like this.
And that.
And he's already coming out. You can see Darren in the first game really trying to bring Rafa wide with his serve. He's not trying to hit the big serve.
Well, that was 99 miles an hour, and that's using the versatility of his serve. He can hit the serve 135. He's got the big first serve, but that's a smart play, and that's what he's been doing a lot so far this tournament.
Tsonga holds. He was down to 30 in that game, but comes back, and it's one to Tsonga. This is one of the greatest of all time. What was he at 12 slams?
G'day, Blue.
And that was only, if you add his double slams to his single slams, nobody's going to even come close.
He's the last guy to win this tournament three years in a row.
Roy Emerson. And there's Rod Laver next to him.
Some double knee jumps. Darren's been doing a lot of those up here in the commentary booth.
He was one of the fittest players to ever play the game. Pete Sampras has 14. Federer and Emerson both had 12 slams. Talked to Emo about it, you know, and he says, we never even counted the slams that we won. Borg at 11 and the Rocket Rod Laver at 11, but remember that he wasn't able to play from 63 to 69. Only player in history to win 2 slams, Rod Laver. Here's Nadal. Joe Wilfred was spotted by talent scouts in regional France and invited to move to Paris to train at the French Institute of Sport at Roland Garros, which he did. They stuck with him through the injuries that we talked about. Shoulder problems, stomach problems, even back issues that he had. He's healthy now.
I'll tell you, the Tsonga of a year ago couldn't play a point like that. He didn't have the confidence in his stamina and the movement, and now he's just relaxed, taking his time. He gets the opportunity. And a beautiful little jumper.
Relaxed is right. Up 30.
The reason also why we talk so highly of this guy is because, well, many reasons, but his defensive game is so good, and you need that in today's game. You need to be able to stain a few points and then transition from a defensive game to the offense, and exactly what he did there. He missed the backhand, but he quickly stood up in the court and made the play.
Again for him, Darren. He had a good look at that backhand. And it's making Nadal work early here.
Rugby World Cup 2007, France. South Africa won the Rugby World Cup.
I knew that would get you going as soon as you saw that.
Thank you, Cliff.
How'd the Aussies do? Like semi-final losers?
Thank you again, Cliff.
Welcome. That's really solid. Telling you, he's got the right game plan. Now, whether he can continue to execute it, that's the question.
30-40.
Well, he also makes a slight adjustment here. Instead of trying to rip the backhand cross court, which he's missed the previous 2 points, he plays a percentage one up the line. Just love the way he moves. He really is relaxed, but very efficient with his movement.
Move like a butterfly, sting.
Something like that, yeah.
Break point. And Tsonga gets the break. his first opportunity, and he's up. As Coach Winogradsky is... that's really some strong stuff there. Wow.
He's a pretty relaxed guy, Eric Winogradsky. He's been around for a long time, and he's the long-time coach of Joe-Wilfried Tsonga. So you won't see too much emotion from him.
No, and he also knows, doesn't he, Darren?
Long way to go.
Yeah, the points like that, it's nice to get them early, but they become a little tougher to play later against Nadal, but an exceptional start for Tsonga.
He's got to be delighted with his start. And the big thing about playing Nadal in this arena is feeling like you belong on this court with the number 1, 2, and 3 players in the semi-finals.
No cakewalk to the semis either. In the first round, for example, he had played the Brit, Murray.
Then he took out Warburg of the USA and Garcia Lopez of Spain easily. A tough win over his good buddy Gasquet, the number 8 seed. The third set was the key there. And then really an outstanding performance against Usning, winning that easily in straight sets.
Of the players, he and Novak Djokovic are the 2 players that have had the toughest draws on paper.
Boy. Nadal didn't like the call on that serve. But he, of course, could have challenged it. But he didn't. That one right there. Got a challenge immediately. As soon as the ball hits, Nadal says it's out by an inch, inch and a half. If you do challenge in the middle of the rally and you're wrong, you lose the point. So let's see if Nadal was right. He was right. It was barely out. It would have been a second serve. But one of the great things about Nadal is he does not let stuff like that bother him.
No,
that's right back to work.
He sure doesn't.
He's got 15-30s. So much mental maturity from Nadal since he came on the scene as a youngster.
Watching live coverage, everyone, of the Australian Open men's first semi-final of the tournament. Joe-Wilfried Tsonga of France against Rafa Nadal of Spain. Early stages, break, serve to Tsonga, 2-0. 30 all in this game.
Well, Tsonga still using his serve really effectively. Some nice swing on that first serve, and that's getting it out of the strike zone of Nadal.
There it is again, Darren, and that's a big difference on this court from what it's been in years past. This is the first year they're playing with this particular surface. It's called plexi cushion. It's basically just like a hard court you have back in the USA. Used to play on rebound ace, which was much bouncier and a springier surface. And this court really takes the bite, the bite from a good slice or a good slice serve.
Wow. Solid start for Joe-Wilfried. The players will change ends, and the Frenchman leads by 3-0. Surprise? You bet so far. Warm welcome back, everybody. Our live coverage of the Australian continues. Tennis Channel, women's semi-finals followed by Australian Open today. That starts at 6 a.m. Eastern Time. Here on ESPN2, live coverage Friday at 3:30 a.m. Federer and Djokovic. That's the second semi-final, an encore presentation Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And then live coverage of the championship match 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. That's going to be Maria Sharapova and Ana Ivanovic.
Think there'll be a few photographers out for that one, Cliff? Usually it's a tough ticket to get a ticket for the Grand Slam final. It's going to be tough to get in the photographer's pit for the women's final as well.
I hear you.
Boy, there's that backhand return. I mean, what a start.
Love 15.
A lot of players also have a lot of trouble with Nadal's serve. It's not a big second serve, but he puts so much spin on the ball and action on the ball that they struggle to get a good, clean hit on the shot. But Tsonga at the moment, he's having no trouble at all.
Could Nadal give that look over there? Says, I guess this guy came to play.
Nadal to get here to the semi-final, a relative romp for him.
Troitsky he took out in the opening round. He struggled a little bit in that one against a young Serb. Then he took out a couple of Frenchmen, a few in fact. Serra, Simon, he was down 6 set points in the opening set there. Mathieu retired with a calf injury, and then he rolled over Niemann, though he did save 2 set points in that opening set as well.
He struggled in a couple of sets, but he has not lost a set.
First point that Nadal's won off the second serve.
Is there anything in making the comparison between Djokovic and this Frenchman? Because they're both tall, they both hit the ball pretty hard from the baseline, they've both got a lot of juice.
I think Tsonga's a little more variety to his game. Djokovic plays a little more straight ahead. Tsonga can really change the pace, mix things up. He's a better volleyer. I don't think he's quite as quick as Djokovic.
Nadal's on the board. But what you're thinking?
I'm just amazed by the way this kid is playing, the way he's handling Nadal's serve, the way he's coming up. He's just so loose and limber on his returns of serve. He's just it's just a walk in the park so far. He may be our Tsonga and dance man. Who knows?
He's pretty casual, isn't he?
Yeah, and I think he's trying to be a little bit more that way than he normally is. We saw him in his match against Murray, and I think tonight's such a big occasion for him. He's really trying to save energy. He knows if he gets into a battle here that physically it's going to be a test.
That was the first really big serve he's hit. But he continues to use that slice to set things up beautifully. You know, I watched Tsonga a couple of years ago, Darren, at the French Open when he probably 2-3 years ago, and he couldn't keep 3-4 balls in a row in the court. He was coming in on everything, and now he's a totally different kind of player, and that's all because of his maturity and his fitness, where now he's able to use all of his game. He's able to sit back. He's able to rally if he needs to.
Spectacular. 40 love.
And fitness plays such a big part in today's game. If you're not fit and not fast in today's game of tennis, you really can't survive. Makes a big difference to the way he can play. He can construct points now. He doesn't need to go for the big winner too early in points. use that French flair that he's got.
He just showed some of it with that drop volley, didn't he?
Yep. Shown quite a lot of it here in his first few games. He's got the lead for 1 break. Nadal will serve and we come back. I guess we were pretty happy to see the end of this these courts here. Kilo, describe what this is all about.
Well, they're bringing up the rebound ace, and this is the first layer of rubber. There's actually 15 layers of rubber. They had to go right down to the court surface, and apparently I wasn't here, but there was water that was seeping through the courts, and it had been sitting there for about 20 years. So when they brought the courts up, it stunk here at Melbourne Park.
that must have been nasty.
Well, now it's so different now because you can see they're vacuuming this court up, but not this court. This is from earlier because the tennis balls, because of the relatively rough surface now, this is what comes off the tennis ball.
There's a few extra things in here that I don't want to talk about, but there's a lot of fuzz here from the tennis balls, and we've been talking about the effect that the new court has on the balls and, you know, really gripping the ball and sort of tearing them up a little bit. So I think we've noticed, Darren, a big difference between when the players start with the new balls and then as the balls wear out, things get a little bit slower, it gets a little bit harder to penetrate through the court.
Well, Nadal's got a couple more games with these
I said I'm
old
done
balls.
with that. Get that away from me. Right.
These old balls, and they'll go to new balls in 2 more
The
games.
things I'll do, you know, to tell the story, Cliff.
Such a baby, P. Mac, throwing them away. There's nothing but tennis ball fuzz. Balls change 7 and 9, right?
7
That's
and 9,
right.
correct, yeah.
Next.
7 because of the 5 or so
5-minute warm-up.
Four 1, 15 love. Make that love 15.
Well, Nadal is playing that shot, and he's banking on that, taking the legs out of Tsonga for the future. At the moment, Tsonga's getting to that shot pretty easily, the first one. But if he keeps playing it and playing it and playing it over the course of a match, defending that shot can take its toll.
That time Nadal was really able to flatten out the second one in that barrage. He would love to get some 3, 4, 5 times going with that one and really make Tsonga run.
30-15.
That is an overrule by the chair ump. And it is no challenge there by Tsonga.
Unlike in the ladies singles, they were using the challenges constantly in the third set. I think Daniela ran out of challenges.
I think they both did. Antikova-Ivanovic match.
Oh! 40-15.
Oh, that's just
Go, Nadal.
really strong. I cannot impress upon you two how much I feel like this set is so important to the Frenchman. If he doesn't win it, he cannot win this match, in my opinion.
Just because you think what, that he'll get tired?
Yeah, grounds you down. You know how many times as you've seen close matches with Rafa, and then he runs away with the next 2.
Yeah, unless you can make Nadal do a lot of running as well. We've seen Djokovic been able to do that on hard courts. We've seen David Ferrer do it last year at the U.S. Open. But Tsonga is showing, at least in the early goings here, that he can crush winners from anywhere. He has 14 winners already.
You see him load up on that forehand, how much he put behind it.
It's more impressive. He's only 6 unforced errors after the 14 winners. So he's the one who's taking it to Nadal. Oh, that was the close that he needed.
You see him look at him looking at the ball now. You see that we're getting to the last game of the ball, these balls being in play. So you've got to do a little bit more work to get something on the ball. And he sort of picked up the ball there. It's probably getting extremely fuzzy.
Yeah, he's going to all the balls as well.
Yeah.
There's 5 or 6
looking for a fresh one, yeah.
So fuzzy slows the ball down.
Yes. And now we're in the last game of this particular rotation of the ball, so it's a little tougher to hold serve here.
Ball.
Wide.
Yeah, I guess it is important, huh, Cliff? You knew something, huh, Cliff? We're setting up this graphic. 54-1. The only match he's lost was against David Ferrer last year's U.S. Open on the fast hard courts of New York.